Nino.
Hey, this is Siobhan. It's been
Hey, how
a
you doing,
minute.
Siobhan?
Yeah, hey, I haven't congratulated
Ooh.
you on your mayorship yet.
Tea?
Congratulations,
Tea?
by the way. Last
Oh,
conversation we had was about
I got too
FOIAs,
excited.
and I actually need to continue that conversation with you if you have time. I'm not sure. I'm sure you're very
Foyas?
busy. Yeah, I wanted to meet with you about those.
Foyas.
Yeah, the Department of Justice fucking did the
Oh.
FOIA process, and the
Yeah,
last time that we had a,
I
meeting, it
remember.
was about
I
that
remember.
exact thing.
Yeah.
And well, what would you know? I'm fucking frustrated, and I
Okay.
texted Angel, and I haven't heard back, and I'm just sort of at my wit's end, and I'm like, you know
Yeah.
what? Nino understands the struggles of the FOIA. That was our last conversation. He's the mayor
Mm-hmm.
now. Perhaps he'd be willing to hear me out.
Did you hear how I bitched out Crane and then he stopped waking up? No, I'm
Um,
kidding about that last part. But
I'm like, don't joke about that. Alan and I were supposed to have a conversation,
no, I yelled
and
at
he
him.
was stabbed, and I didn't get to say goodbye to him before he
No,
left
fuck
on his
him.
fishing trip. I didn't get to say goodbye. Despite whatever people's
Yeah.
personal thoughts are, I think that's something that should matter to people. You
What?
know,
Wait, what?
like I didn't get to say goodbye to Alan.
What are you talking about? He's not dead.
No, but he went out of town, and I was gonna say goodbye, and I was gonna have this whole thing, and he got stabbed, and I didn't get to say goodbye. Well, we both got stabbed, so I just wanted
Wait,
to say
when?
goodbye because a while ago, like July 2nd.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I haven't seen him since.
Okay.
I'm
I
just
may
sad
be
about
around
that.
tomorrow. Today's not a good day.
Okay,
Yeah.
is there a time tomorrow that would work for you? Because I have
I
D&D.
will let you know because I've got there's a lot going on with the office right now, especially with like businesses and all that kind of shit. So I need to make sure that stuff is in order before I open the next like case file. You know what I
Kind
mean?
of worms, totally.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
completely understand, 100%.
so if
Yeah.
I don't get in contact with you, it's not intentional. Just call me back. You know what I mean? If
Okay,
you're
you want
around
me to
and
just
be
follow up with you? Okay.
exactly. Yep, that makes it that way. If it escapes my mind for whatever reason, and that shit does happen, we don't lose touch.
Okay,
All right.
okay, cool. I would really appreciate that. Just because
Okay.
I think you're one of the only people who might actually give a fuck about what I'm gonna tell you and see a problem with it. And
Okay.
I mean, you cared before, so I figured you would still care about wanting to make sure that the FOIA process doesn't feel like it's trampling on people's rights.
Can you give me just a TLDR as to what
Um,
it's about?
they have 72 hours to get me a report so they can give it to me at the very end of the 72nd hour. And at that same time, if
Yeah.
I have somebody out on bail, I won't be able to get it on the docket in time to qualify since it's supposed to be posted in 72
Oh
hours.
yeah,
Some bullshit. It's some bullshit. Is one of
I'll
that's
give
one
you
one part.
I'll give you some tea.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell you just a little bit.
Okay.
Is after the conversation I had with Crane, where he agreed he was gonna cook some shit up. We then met, and then this fucking crybaby bitch started complaining about why we needed the FOIA stuff. I got so fucking triggered that I told him to shut the fuck up and start writing, and he did. 40 minutes of silence later, he eventually produced something. I then found out later that he just redoctored what fucking what's his name? Bailey had written. So he just rewrote something that Bailey had written, and I found this out a couple days later. So I don't know what the fuck Crane did to begin with. Maybe he rewrote it in a more appropriate way. I don't fucking know.
I think he would have put it into his own words. I doubt.
But that's still.
I doubt he
it's-
plagiarized.
he did. If you open up, I have the original documents.
Ooh, I would be curious to see that.
Siobhan, I am somebody that expects to. I call that like lying out of a mission or like deception out of a mission.
It is.
Right?
It is a sin of omission, like very Catholic.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because there are lies by omission, 100%. Yeah.
Right. And so it just doesn't sit well with me, and so it's whatever. But that is particularly what you are referencing, something that I brought up, and it was subsequently ignored, but I was already out of energy on that topic at that point. I said, listen,
Well,
we made a bit of a win.
I
We
didn't
should
mind
push
what
again.
I didn't mind what was written before. I don't like what's written now because I'm also getting pushback from officers if they're not the reporting officer, even if it's already done and
Wait, what do you
available.
mean what's written now?
People don't want to give me the report because it says in the legislation that the reporting officer has to sign off or whatever, approve it. And they're like,
What?
well, they're the one who should approve it. Yes. Yes, I've had
Wait,
more than
when
one
did this
officer.
did it get when did it get updated again?
No, I just meant the July 10th one.
So that was the. Wait, I wonder if it got updated at. Okay, because
This is Angels. This is July. The July 10th one is Angels. It's not Crane at all.
Oh.
And you know, it's worse than it was before.
Can I ask you a question? Because this topic
Yeah.
came up earlier.
Yeah, sure.
Did Max become commissioner because the PD was dog shit?
Yeah, ish. There wasn't. It's not so much. So the PD was dog shit, and they needed morale boost, and they needed a strong leader who inspired the troops, for lack of a better phrase. We interviewed extensively. We could not find anybody good for the role who was a fit.
Oh my God! Wow, that's almost like
Right, Max seemed like the natural thing, and with the way PCP2 was written, Cornwood gave Max his own name and said, Max, you should be commissioner. Max is like, well, I don't think he even thought of it before Cornwood suggested it, and he asked the state, and the state confirmed his appointment.
Yeah,
That's how that went down. But yeah, it was essentially because the PD is very sad, and you know, the DOJ, Nino, needs the PD. If the PD doesn't arrest anybody, we don't even get cell reps.
Yeah.
The PD has to actually be functional. Like the health of the PD and the DOJ are inherently tied together, and I think that's been proven in the city's history time and time again.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, we'll talk soon then. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Right.
I look forward to it.
Right.
I just thank you for taking my call and for hearing me out and for asking the questions that you did.
Yep.
You know, I really do appreciate it because I don't know how I'm supposed to fucking serve my clients when it seems like things are designed to fuck them over.
Welcome to why I ran for mayor. It's because of all this, right? And
but you know, I feel like it's I don't know how to say this.
Yeah.
I feel like the Department of Justice is worse than it was before. I think they're power hungry. I don't think they need the marshals. I think the marshals are an abomination. You know, the executive branch of the judicial branch, there's no separation of powers. That's a fusion of powers.
Why did you put up signs saying no to my legislation?
I had issues with some components once it had gone to a vote. I wish I could have spoken with you sooner, Nino. I kept looking for your number in the lemon list because I wanted to speak with you about my issues and see if they could be amended. You actually fixed a couple of them and took out the things that I had problems with. And I actually did encourage people at that point, I mean, you know, to not vote against it.
Here's the thing, Siobhan, right?
I'm going to reach out to you, Nino. You weren't around. I literally looked for your name in the lemon list.
Emails, text messages, but half the city knows who
Wait,
I am.
Are you saying I can just email you?
Yes.
Really? To wake up?
Yeah.
I don't like to do that, you know, unless people give me express permission because I know how obnoxious it is. The Lord knows I've gotten enough of those emails in my life telling me to wake up, sign my subpoena.
I can tell you this, and the reason I asked the question is I don't ever close doors. I don't believe in that philosophy. And whatever's in the past is in the past. But, you know, obviously, from my perspective, you putting up signs and me getting zero communication, it kind of puts you, in my mind, into a similar bucket as Nakota and a bunch of these fucking Blaine fucks that have been crying about us interfering with their shit while they demonstratively actually fucking with us at the cost of the rest of the city. So
I can't speak to Nakota. I've not spoken to Nakota for months, so I have no idea what he's about. Honestly, no idea. I think the fact that I've reached out to you, you know, the second that I could, I hope that speaks, you know, something for you.
And that's why I'm being transparent, right? Like I don't hide shit, right? I'd rather talk.
Hey, I
to
didn't lie
than...
to you about me putting up any signs either, did I? You're giving me transparency, so I'm giving you that same transparency back.
Okay.
It's respect is a two-way street, right? And I feel
What
like
are your thoughts on Andy
like we've
Jones
always shown
and our
respect.
legislation?
I'm not. I mean, here's the thing. I like Andy.
Yeah.
As a human being. In the old republic, she was probably the best person that we could have ever hoped for our initial mayor terms post financial collapse.
Yeah.
Do I think? Let me rephrase. Would I have written and passed all of her legislation as is? No, I wouldn't have. But I also, wouldn't have done the same for yours. Everybody is different. Yeah. Yeah, you know what I mean? Everyone is, just everybody is different. The thing about Andy is that she seems to be like primarily, I don't know, shift 1, shift 2, or like early shift 2.
Yeah.
Shift 3 doesn't really see her too much. We rarely have mayors that are seen by shift 3 in general throughout the city's history. It's historically been a land of the lost, for lack of a better phrase, and the people who inhabit shift 3 feel very left behind.
Yeah.
They feel very left behind by everybody.
So you have no relationship with their campaign?
No, I don't have any relationship to Andy Jones' campaign. Okay. Andy has not asked me for advice or anything. I have no relation to her campaign, no.
Okay. All right.
0.
And none of this had to do with the business that was approved of yours recently?
No.
Okay.
No, I had to fight for that. My Thoroughbred Consulting.
Yeah. And who was that fought with?
That was just me. Oh, wait, what do you mean?
Well, didn't you have to call her and get it approved?
She did approve it. And I did have to speak with her. It was denied a couple of times, and I didn't get feedback as to why that was. I'm not sure if she had the wrong number or what. And that was, somewhat annoying because I would have liked to have known. Turns out I didn't read the business legislation where my state ID and phone number have to all be in there or whatever. Right? I gotcha. But I wasn't aware that even existed.
Okay.
Right? Until I went and hunted for it.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something? I don't know if you have any power over this, but this is really a huge pain point. I have been asking for 9 fucking months now. For 9 fucking months, I've been asking for a DOJ app.
To become a judge?
No, a DOJ app, like a Department of Justice app on the phone, so we can see who the fuck is signed in and available.
Oh, I've already asked for it.
Or marked in trial or busy. Okay, please, thank you. Because I've been asking in our DOJ general email chain. I asked in December of 2023.
Okay.
And I was told we were getting it soon, TM.
Yeah.
It has been 9 months.
I'm going to put it this way. My only interest as mayor is to make sure that this city moves forward and builds up. And that means that if I'm working with those that I may have not been on the same wavelength on months ago, all the better, right? Enemies can become friends. Friends can become enemies. But so the reason for all this questioning is because I want to at least be satisfied with your answers, which I am. But the one thing I have zero interest in at this stage is dealing with any fuckery that involves Blaine County, because the series of things that these guys have been doing amounts to nothing more than middle school drama, and at the cost of 95% of the populace, right?
Jesus, can I ask what? What the fuck? You were saying people in Dakota and fuckfaces have been fucking with you.
Well, like I'll put it this way. These guys have been crying about me controlling the LSPD. I don't speak to them outside of where it needs to. Let them do their own thing. They've been bitching about the county being divided, even though that's the feds. There's been some phraseology between, like, Blaine County and, Los Santos County. which can kind of amount to like small little jabs, like, you know, calling people blaners and shit like that. Small shit that like adds flavor to what's happening around us. But it led to Cassidy, who I've never spoken to, crashing out about me and somehow having an entire autobiography of who I am and what my intentions are. That rubbed me the wrong way, right? If you don't fucking know someone, what the fuck you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine someone comes up to you, you've never talked to them, and they supposedly think they know everything, right?
I literally dealt with that.
Yeah,
Max's, both Max's terms
so
all the time.
I've
dealt
took
with
the
that.
high road.
Been there, done that. It sucks. You have to take the high road.
Imagine hearing a undersheriff tell you that you got to be working with the PD to write all the legislation, and the people too stupid to be involved in that, and don't understand that citizens are who the mayor represents. I took the high road, brought them into a meeting. I asked Bones and Cassidy directly what their issue is and why it's going out of hand. They tell me people don't even want to get on the duty because of how bad it is. I'm like, what specifically? Bones' dumbass references a hacked fucking piece of legislation that was on my laptop. So that was the total issues that they had. Something that didn't exist. After I agreed to pull back on it, the next fucking day, BCSO and a bunch of their officers have signed contestation paperwork, and to this day, I don't even know why they contested. So how do you go and say, come to me crying, tell me to pull back, I agree to it, and the next day you go contest all Los Santos PD legislation without a single word spoken? I don't even know how Dakota looks like. You get where I'm coming from? So this is some like rat shit, and whatever the reason is, there's enough, you know.
So hold on, it was something on your laptop. So you had some like leaked bait legislation.
Yeah.
Is what you're telling me? It's some bait legislation that got leaked.
Yeah.
You know, the same thing happened to me. You should be careful with that. You should be careful with that. Same thing happened to me, and the entire government got overturned. Yeah, I would be real careful with bait legislation, because I literally had the violent coup as a result of some funny bait legislation. Entire government literally overturned. Overthrown, because of bait legislation.
Did you ever enter it into any MDT or display it, like, to anyone?
It was in like private reports or whatever, right?
It was
council
more,
reports.
This legislation was even more private than that.
Yeah, either way, like, people shouldn't be leaking legislation in general. Like, that's an issue. And personally, Nino, I think people who leak legislation, like bait legislation in general, right, people who leak legislation, and that's why the baits were like done, is because I think people who leak legislation, I think that should be a crime. Like, you're essentially, right, what you're essentially doing is leaking classified documents. We don't have a charge for that. At least for like what happened to me, I think Murphy should have been charged with some sort of obstruction of justice or something. For leaking.
Murphy, I don't fuck with. I hope he dies.
Hey, wait, why? I hate him too. Why do we both hate Murphy? Is this because he was a useless head of bar?
Yes.
He did nothing but fuck off.
He's the reason I had to go fucking fight for FOIA, because this dumb cunt was worried that you guys were gonna kill him. And
what the fuck? I've literally never given a shit about.
He told me this on the phone, and I called him as one of 3 votes he initially got, right? And I call him. I'm like, hey, we have this issue with the FOIA thing. He's like fucking in this fucking emo bullshit phase, and I'm like, brother, you're the head of bar. We have an issue, and you're fucking pre-mad. You know what I mean? Like, when we haven't spoken in so long. You know what I mean? Where's his fucking attitude? So he pops on me about how he's gonna die and he's been in hiding, and I fucking ripped him a new one. So
you mean the second that you called him out on his lack of behavior, he made up a sob story to turn himself into the victim to try to deflect blame?
Yes, but instead the reality was that he was even a more lazy piece of shit than Moulton was. Oh
my god. Moulton. Yeah. Mullen was, Murphy was even lazier than Mullen. I actually fully agree with you on that. Mullen, to his credit, fought for lawyers to get the fucking 7 in front of our pay. Our pay is so shit, by the way.
It shouldn't be anymore. No, it's maxed out as far as I can do.
So if you're maxing it out there, it's because you only have the ability to control the slider, like, value, not the base pay. And the base pay is 700.
Yeah.
So the most that you can bring it up is like the 780 or whatever ends up being after tax. You can't raise it any higher than that then without asking for permission from the Fed to set it manually like you can some of the other pay.
Yeah, we got other issues too. We barely get any money coming into the state, so I can't even put sanitation sliders up without bleeding $8 million a fucking week.
Oh, Sani sliders bled the most of all the sliders.
Yeah. And there's no money coming into the state either because it's all fucking real estate. So I got fucking
the majority of
brainiacs
state
that
comes
just
from
happen
purchases.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's barely any
cars
purchases anymore. It's barely cars anymore. Yeah. It's I think
has been barely cars for a
week.
while ever since Mosley has stopped, doing the restock days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you used to be able to watch a state account jump up by like 6 or 8 million in one day when Mosley's had restocks.
Well, there's another thing too is we're more restricted with the budget now. I don't know how to put this in so many words, but
the sliders have less crazy values, for lack of a better phrase.
If I do one Sani Saturday, that accounts for what did account for 33% of the total revenue. One day maxed out, and then 25% of the rest. Which inherently, if I do it more than that, there's no money left. And so I got people that are walking around that know how much money is in the state account, and I'm just like, listen, that's fucking rainy day fund. You go fucking do 4 days of Sani Saturday, there's Ripozo fucking 15 mil right there. So,
yep. No, that's what I meant. Like sanitation, literally just fucking. That was the biggest strain that we saw on the state
Siobhan,
account as well.
I gotta go.
Yeah, no worries. I'll talk to you later, Nino. Let me know if you have any questions on
I want to make it clear though. The reason I'm being very transparent of what happened is so that you understand why I'm not even fucking with that shit. It's like dealing with fucking children. And I got a city to run. You know what I mean? Not a population of 30. So.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Yeah.
No, I do. I 100% do. And I know why you don't want to open up the FOIA can of worms yet.
And I'm just gonna ask you real straight. If we're gonna have this conversation, I'm not gonna have to worry about some fuck shit, right?
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. You pulling my leg or some bullshit like that.
What? No, I'm fucking serious. I have an actual I have like actual standing to a claim where I'm like, this is a huge issue, and I'm low key. Want to sue the Department of Justice for violating people's constitutional rights with how the FOIA legislation is written, but I can't sue the Department of Justice because guess who the fuck would hear that fucking case, Nino? The same people who did the shit that I'm having an issue with.
Okay. All right. I believe you. All right, Siobhan, I'll chat with you soon, yeah?
All right, sounds good.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right.